And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Hope you're having a good day. In case you don't know, this is serious talk with a little comedy injected every now and then on everything that affects you. We will do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, Doge, which seems to be not doging right now. Taxes. We don't use the word tariffs anymore. Trade deals. And much more. And in case you don't know, and in case you don't get our show in your city, we'll post the show at GaryK.com. We'll also post it at our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, you really should. And if you'd like to email me, all you got to do is be nice and respectful, because we're going to be nice and respectful back, unless you're one of those Hamas-loving, I won't say the next word. Well, we had an eventful day. We had an eventful day. First off, you know how I tell you that I am a learned person? I don't say that to pat myself on the back. It's just I love reading and learning things. I know nothing about the Pope and how all that works. But I will tell you, I've been to Vatican City. I'm going to guess about between 5 and 7 times. The last time I took my son, we were there early, had one of these guides before anything is open, because if you go in the middle of the day, forget it. We actually met the man who had the keys to open things up. They're like, I can't even tell you how many hundreds or thousands of years old these keys that were in his hand. I actually have the pictures of it, and he let me hold them. And it really is what I would call magnificence, the Sistine Chapel and all that, but I've never really studied it. I may have to just study it just to know it going forward, because a lot of big things. We have the first, is it the first, I think, American Pope was named today, and man, it was a big-time thing in Vatican City. I don't know how many tens of thousands of people that were there, and that was a big event today. I'll stop it there. The next big event today. And what I'm about to say is nothing but a compliment. I'm not sure it comes out as a compliment, but what I'm about to say is a pure compliment. If I was stranded in a desert, I think Donald Trump can sell me sand. That's how convincing he was today. In case you don't know, they had this whole trade deal with one of my second homes, as you know, Hawaii, but the United Kingdom. I've been there, I'm going to guess 13 times now, maybe even more, to the United Kingdom. And not just London, I've been as north as Manchester and all around, and played all the golf courses there also. I've been to Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. I've been to Scotland, part of the United Kingdom. I've been with Wales, part of the United Kingdom. And he was magnificent as a salesman. And again, that is a compliment. He convinced the hell out of me that the deal they have going with the United Kingdom is freaking magnificent. Now, I know better, because those things I do study, but it just rated a big wow. So in case you don't know, they told us there's a deal with the United Kingdom, a trade deal. And in case you don't know, there hasn't been a trade deal in a long while. But there's not even fine print. There's nothing done. It's a framework, and it's a pimple on an elephant's butt for our economy. But let me be clear. Anything good towards better trade is fine. But it was really sold as the greatest. Terrific. Now, if they want to sell it as, hey, this is just the start, and okay, fine. But man, oh man, they would drive into the hoop today. And I got to tell you, I'm going to repeat it. If I was stranded in a desert, this guy can sell me sand. And again, that is a pure compliment. That is not a put down. What else happened today? Well, they front ran the stock market again today. They're good at it, and don't tell me they don't. In case you don't know, right before Apple got exempted from tariffs, there was massive Apple call options being bought. Before the pauses, massive market options being bought. So they're definitely front running, which is really bad. Nothing unlike Nancy Pelosi and the rest of those cretins there. So they did that again today because at like 3:30 they announce, and this is pure leak, and it's not by accident, that the 145% tariffs on China before they go and meet in Switzerland can go down to 50%. So leave no doubt, tomorrow it'll be announced, yeah, we're going to move those down. So all the frickin' tariffs, I'm using the word tariff again, the taxes, they're just pretty much all gone. The good news is fear and greed, those emotions took over. And thankfully, the fear emotion took over. And they ran for the hills. And I'm thrilled with that. And that is not a put down. What do I mean by the fear? On that fateful Wednesday in the Rose Garden, the president made one of the biggest economic mistakes in decades, putting on massive tariffs on anything that moved across the world. The markets crashed for 2 days, and we're very careful with our words here. The word crash is being too nice. The markets crashed for 2 days. On that Monday, they were going to pause what they did that Wednesday afternoon, but it got leaked, so they said it was only a rumor and not true, but it was true. They just didn't like the fact that it got leaked, so they moved it aside. They came back on Wednesday and did the pause. They did the pause because the markets were crashing. Not just the stock market, but the bond market and the dollar. If they did not do the pause, all hell was going to break loose worse, and they knew it. The president got talked out of that craziness, and slowly but surely they have removed just about everything, and now it looks like they're going to knock down the China tariffs. Remember, tariffs suck. We were right, they were all wrong. Tariffs are a nightmare. Today the president was even saying China was paying for it. God, I wish he would stop the bull crap. And I'm using the word tariff just so you know what I'm talking about today, but they're taxes. And every time they removed tariffs, the market rallied. When they threatened more, the market went down, and they figured it out to the point where they got the president to just. And you can say what you want, that we caved, nobody else did. That's the fact. Even the president say it doesn't matter if it was us first to them. That's him admitting. But that I don't care. What I care most about is we're getting rid of this utter moronic stupidity of taxing the crap out of our businesses and our consumers. So it looks like the China tariffs will go away. They were front running it, but interesting enough, I don't know what happened at the end of the day, but the market gains were cut in half in like the last 20 minutes. Oh yes, I think I do know what happened. Just remember the markets were very weak before the crash. The markets now are right in and under that area of what we can call pretty damn good resistance that could get worked through. But today it looks like at the end of the day, that resistance took over. And we'll give out the final numbers up next. We have a lot more to say today on this eventful day. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. If you have a chance to watch, it was like an hour. By the way, I was supposed to be on TV in that hour. It was the 11 a.m. hour. I was going to be on TV with Stuart Varney, and I was obviously knocked on my arse out because they spent the whole 11 o'clock hour in the Oval Office with the representatives from trade from the UK as well as ours. And I just have to tell you, he was just magnificent. And I say that, we're talking just the salesman of Trump. He's so good. And again, it's a compliment. It's an absolute compliment how good he was. How good he was. And I have to tell you also, he's funny as all hell. And again, that's another compliment. He was just plain old funny. Plain old funny. What else was eventful today? Well, and I'm not thrilled with this. The president, interesting, is pushing GOP lawmakers, the grand old party, to raise taxes. What? Now they raise the threshold. Anyone making $2.5 million or more in a year should pay 39.6%. I think right now it's 37, but it's not just 39.6. Obama did the investment tax in the Obamacare, that silent tax. And I'm just not thrilled with raising any marginal tax rates at all. At all. I'm not a big believer in soaking the rich, but that's where most socialists and Marxists run to, the rich. And no, I'm not calling Trump a socialist or Marxist, but he wants to raise taxes, which calls into question exactly who is he? He wants to raise taxes via the tariff. And he was talking today about how much money it would bring in, and now marginal rates. Oh, but it's only if you make $2.5 million or more. I don't like it. If you're worried about revenue, cut the spending. But unfortunately, the grand old party in their new budget raises debt by over $5 trillion going forward, if not more. So on the day, at the close, interesting, and may I state for the record, I think I can give you the numbers right now. The Dow hit a high of 41,773, was up 670 points, closed only 254. And interesting enough, at 3:30 was 41,681. So it dropped 313 points in the last 30 minutes. I didn't see any news except a good close look at where price was earlier today, right into where the market started crashing. And remember, before that, the market wasn't in good shape before that. So I think we may be in one of those where the rubber meets the road areas. We'll see. Tomorrow's another day. And as I have said to you, they're not going to make it easy. So the Dow finished up 254. The S&P only finished up 32 today. At one time today, it was up 90. Wow. The NASDAQ finished up 189. At one time today, was up 370. So I think maybe we hit a little. I just think it's all about resistance. They were trying to front run it, and trust me, they do. Trust me on that. They do. And nobody will ever get indicted. Nobody will ever get caught because they are Teflon over in Washington, D.C. in both parties. Why do you think they keep saying, threatening that they shouldn't be able to trade, but they never go through with the law? So not the greatest finish, but not the end of the world. We've had a good run up. The lower high confirmation day we told you was on April 22nd. We've run up with one icky day. We talked to you yesterday. We had this little pullback for the last 4 days that looked like what we call a bullish wedge, and we rallied today, but we may have hit a wall, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. As stated, they're not going to make this easy. They're not going to make this easy. And in case you don't know, the NASDAQ is trading where it did last June. 13 months of no gains and is still down from the highs. We'll call it about 11%. And that's after this rally up. What else happened today? Bitcoin had a good day. Very good day, Bitcoin. Gold had a bad day because it's kind of the anti-market, goes the opposite. Semiconductors had a good day, but was much better. That came in late in the day. Very much so. And the big banks had a good day, but they also came in late in the day. Retail, not a bad day. Some of the worst stocks bounced today. And not really complaining about much, except I think we rallied into resistance. And I think that's my guess. I think it's a pretty decent guess. We ran into where I can draw a line overhead. But again, if we're going higher, we'll break above that line. But maybe today, the mallet came out on the market and they sold it down. And tomorrow's another day. I noticed a couple of other things. Microsoft edged above resistance and fell below. Meta, I don't know why they changed the name. Facebook broke above resistance and fell below. Just a few little tidbits that tell me maybe you hit a little bit of a wall. Maybe. Up next, but a lot of reaction to earnings. That'll be up next. And then Bernie Sanders. We're going to rip him. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. How about those New York Knicks? Do you know, I'm watching the game last night, and it looked like there was a window over the basket. Wood over the basket. They couldn't score. And they were down 20, but it was a bad 20. They looked like crap. And I don't know what gets wound up, but they came back in the fourth quarter. Boston couldn't hit the side of a mountain with a bazooka, and the Knicks won. They're 2-0 over Boston, who Boston was kicking their teeth in all year long when they played. And, of course, they got some special players, the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, my freaking hero. But they got some other players on that team that I'm always a big believer that in order to go deep in the playoffs, you got to have a certain mindset. Man, I don't know what happens with the rest of the series, but it really feels like they've got a good mindset. On to Game 3 in New York. I will not be there. And I must tell you, if I was in New York, I'd probably go to the game. But I hear the cheapest ticket is $600 in nosebleed section. My Knicks. In other news, The Who, one of my top 10. And I think Roger Daltrey is in his 80s, maybe? They're doing one more tour, and then they're retiring. So I will go see them one more time. Last time I saw them, I had front row, because I'm a front row guy, in Jacksonville, Florida. I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago. And it was magnificent. It was magnificent. So I'll see them again, and there's not much more I can see. If Rush decides to play again, I'll go see them. But it will be without Neil Peart, of course, but I don't think they're going to play. And after that, I think I'm going to see Coldplay again, but they're not from my yesteryear. And I don't know what else I would go see. Getting old. That's your sports section today and your music section today. Just letting you know today, there were blow-ups, but I'm not going to talk about the blow-ups to the downside, but just letting you know. When you have a chance tonight, go look at AXON, up $85 today to $686 on their earnings. Go look at APP Lovin', up $36 to $339, 10, 11, 12% on those. And some short seller yesterday put out a short sale on App right before earnings, which was stupid. I hope he wasn't short. The Brothers Coffee, BROS, Dutch Brothers, that was up 5 today, 8%. That doesn't do much for me, though, but not bad. Numbers look good. Crocs, up 10 to 110 on 0% sales growth and minus 1% earnings growth. That may be tax related. I actually have to keep saying tariffs so you know what I'm talking about. Carvana, CVNA, up $26 today, 10% on their earnings. How about symbol Dave? No, just Dave. Up $45 to $152. 41% on their earnings? Holy crap. Wow. How about Groupon? Wow. Up 42% to $24. Sales were down 5%, but earnings were strong. It beats the hell out of me. Sales down 5% and the stock's up 42%. Welcome to my world. How about Sezzle, SEZL, up $22 to $75 today. Another 42%er. So there was some movers today. I think I got one more. Paycom, PAYC. Earnings up 8. Revenues up 6. Blah. Stock was up 9%, $20. So just letting you know, there's some pretty darn good reactions out there. Even Palantir, which gapped to the downside 2 days ago, right back up $8 today. Like it never happened. That's an outlier. And of course, as I can tell you the blow-ups, but no need to. Gold, down $6 today. And I think I said 7-8 days ago I wouldn't be doing any buying, and then they ramped it up the last 2 days. Well, it's right back down. I think it's probably gold's going to go through some backing and filling here. But man, oh man, gold's been one of the few bull markets around here. but very good recovery. Off the highs, the Goldman Sachs was up 13 today. Was up 21. That was the end of the day comeback, and we'll see. Again, what is resistance? It's an area where things broke down from. And it used to be support, and once it gets broken to the downside, it becomes the ceiling, resistance. And the farther the ceiling is going backwards, the tougher it is to get through. And if you look today at the S&P, you will see, or the Dow, or the NASDAQ, you will see going back October, November, December, January, February, March, one hell of a ceiling above. Again, that doesn't mean we don't get above, but we may have hit that today. Maybe. Not going to say for sure, but I wouldn't doubt it. Anything else stick out for me today? Advanced declines were good. Worse at the end of the day, no big deal. I told you Bitcoin was strong today. Even the weak Ethereum was strong today, so a good day for the crypto. In fact, Ethereum, really busted above some resistance today, the 50-day average, and on volume. In fact, I'm going to throw that on my screen. Symbols ETHE for that. What else? British Airways is going to buy some Boeing planes. So that may have something to do with the deal with the United Kingdom. Well, British Airways is from there. So Boeing acting well. In fact, I think Boeing may be almost at a new yearly high. Keep in mind it closed today at 191. And keep in mind the high was in 2019 at 446. Got some work to do. But it looks like you're getting farther away from a lot of their troubles. And man, oh man, and you know what happened back, what was it, 2019? I'm not going to go over that again. And let's hope that never happens again. And that was kind of sort of the story of the day. A late day sell down. I'm going to call it a no biggie. Just hitting resistance, and we'll see if we can get through. When I do my scans tonight, I'll see a lot of bars where the price finished in the midpoint of the day, which is not the end of the world. And just better tone overall. Transports had a good day. Remember, the transports have been nightmarish. Actually still look nightmarish, to be honest with you. Just rallying up with everything else. Dang, the transports still look like crap. But they were up 2.5% today. The transports. And my stuff page, better day. Financials, semis, economically sensitive stuff. Caterpillar and Deere. What's got another bad day today, and we've been warning about it? Oh, they're just killing the drug stocks and the biotechs. And again, anything government pays for right now, I'd be wary about. And there is a move afoot by the administration on payments to these companies. And the strongest name in the group, McKesson, down $32 today. And boy, oh boy, Eli Lilly, 900 to 750 in 6 days. That is one tough stock to play right now. No thank you. And a bunch of drug stocks remain in quite the bear market. Tonight I'll be spending time with reaction to earnings. But up next, Bernie Sanders, the gift that keeps on giving. I'll explain this doofus. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. So, certain things I don't understand. I guess Bernie Sanders was out doing campaign stops, or whatever you want to call them, with the other winner. And they got like tens of thousands of people to show up. and they were talking about how their lot in life is never going to be good unless you follow their lead. You know, Bernie Sanders many times praised Cuba, their economy and their health care. Bernie Sanders once proposed a 100% tax rate on $1 million and up in any given year. Meaning if you made $10 million in a year, you'd have that, whatever the tax rate was on the first million, let's say it was 30. You pay $300,000, keep $700,000, and then pay the government $9 million out of the next $9 million. Not making this up, by the way, it's on video. And we've tried to explain to you they're a bunch of con artists, hypocrites, liars. The global cooling, global warming, climate change BS. Marxism, socialism, control freakism, that's all they are. They're just control freaks. But we also tell you they're only socialists and Marxists with our lives. With their lives, nah. So Bernie Sanders was on with Bret Baier, Fox News. Love that guy. One of my favorites. Him, Neil Cavuto. We like non-biased when they do their job and take on all comers, regardless. And ask Bernie Sanders a simple question. You know, and I'm paraphrasing the question, you're flying private. You're on private jets going to these campaign stops. And I think Bret Baier was nice enough to say, don't you think you're undercutting your... The way he asked the question was very nice. And in case you don't know, Bernie Sanders has been preaching to you about conservation and climate change. Oh, by the way, Antarctica, the ice is just growing leaps and bounds right now. Just want to let you know. You don't see that in the news, do you? And this was Bernie Sanders' answer. And I'm talking to you, the people that love him, to let you know he has no problem telling you he's a lying sack and a con artist and a hypocrite. When asked about flying on a private jet, this is his answer, and this is a quote. You run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. And here's the little money quote, because he cares so much about you. Do you think I am going to sit on a waiting line at United waiting? Bernie Sanders, the man has never had a job in the private sector. He's lived off your tax dollars his whole life. Says, do you think I am going to sit on a waiting line at United waiting? Just letting you know. He goes on to say it's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done in the past. We'll do in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, another Marxist hypocrite that hates you. Thinks you're a nothing. You're a peasant. You got to wait on them lines at the airport. Him? No, I'm Bernie Sanders. Oh, and I don't have to pay for the private jet. It'll come out of campaign. Just letting you know. And why do we bring this up? This guy was polling for President of the United States a couple of times ago. This guy is a senator of one of our 50 states. It's ill that people vote for con artists like this. Yeah, I'm going to stand in line. Not me. And by the way, we've seen worse people. But I have a special place for this guy because people love him. And I don't know if it's because he's elderly and the way he talks and the way he looks. I don't care. Marxism and socialism is the enemy of capitalism. You need to know this. And you need to know what Marxism and socialism has done to every country that's ever gone into it. It has stomped them on the head. And then there's really extreme Marxism and socialism that destroys countries. So just letting you know, Bernie Sanders, you'll never see him on a line at the airport. He'll be at that other little terminal over there where the private jets are. Because he's cool and you're not. That's our Bernie Sanders story today. Control freak. Unbelievable. And by the way, he was quite passionate and vociferous with the way he answered. It was like one of these big F you. I flew on a private jet once in the last year. I won a trip on an auction at one of the charity events I was at. I must say it was excellent. Cost me some bucks. I paid for it, by the way. I can't blame Bernie. It's pretty good. I've only been on 2 private jets in my life. I think one in 1985 and this. It is pretty cool. But I must tell you, I like flying Delta. And even if I had the big buck, the big buck, I think I'd stay with the airports. And that's our story today. On all that, you have a great evening. You all drive carefully. All when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Not the greatest finish today, but we're still in an uptrend right now with massive resistance overhead. And tomorrow's another day. Stay well, be well, and until tomorrow, have a great evening. Good night.